The sound comes first, a deep, low rumble that rolls across the open plains like thunder under the earth. The elephants are moving. Dust hangs in the air, glowing gold under the early light of dawn. A line of giants, their skin the color of storm clouds, walks in perfect rhythm across the savanna. At their center, tucked close between legs as strong as tree trunks, walks a small calf, Lumo. His ears flap clumsily as he tries to keep pace, his little trunk curling and uncurling in curious patterns. For a moment, everything feels eternal. The sun rises over a horizon that seems to stretch forever. The grass, tall and sun-bleached, sways like an ocean of pale fire. The air smells of dust, dry acacia pods, and distant water. A flock of starlings bursts into the sky as the herd passes, their wings scattering light in every direction. Amara, Lumo's mother, moves with calm authority. She's young compared to the matriarch, Nabira, but her presence carries a quiet strength. Every few minutes, she reaches back, brushing Lumo's forehead gently with her trunk, a mother's wordless reassurance. Around them, the herd hums with soft vibrations, low rumbles that can travel for miles. To human ears, it might sound like silence. But to elephants, it is a language of family, comfort, direction, love. The morning heat begins to build. Far ahead, mirages shimmer on the horizon. Nabira lifts her trunk high, sniffing the wind for the scent of water. The dry season has lasted longer than usual this year. Rivers have thinned into strings of muddy pools. The grass, though tall, is brittle, its green faded to a tired yellow. Even the wind feels heavy, a whisper of change that no one can name. For now, though, peace still rules this place. The herd reaches a shallow valley where shade from a few umbrella-shaped trees offers brief relief. Lumo breaks into a playful trot, splashing through a patch of soft mud. He swings his trunk like a toy, tossing clumps of dirt at his reflection in a puddle. The other calves join in, their squeals rising in joyful chaos. The adults watch with slow, patient amusement, occasionally spraying the little ones with their trunks when they wander too far. That it's in moments like these that time seems to stop, when life in the wild feels simple, when every heartbeat echoes with belonging. But the earth holds memories longer than any creature does. Beneath that same soil, hidden by grass and silence, lies something unnatural. A loop of wire, rusted, tightened once around another creature's leg years ago. A trap meant to catch, not kill, though it often did both. The snare waits quietly, disguised by dust and time. As the herd moves on, Lumo lags behind again. He's distracted by the buzzing of insects, by a line of ants marching across a fallen branch. He presses one oversized foot into the dirt and feels the strange coolness beneath the dry crust. A small bird lands beside him, a red-billed oxpecker, bold and bright. It hops along his back, pecking at imaginary ticks, and Lumo lets out a soft trumpet of surprise. His mother turns, rumbling a low warning, "Stay close." That he does. But only for a while. By midday, the sun burns directly overhead. Heat waves ripple across the plains. The air trembles, the horizon bends. Nabira leads them onward toward the promise of water, an old riverbed she's known for decades. Her memory is the map of their survival. She has walked this path through drought and flood, birth and death. She knows the way, though she cannot know what waits beneath the grass. The herd moves slowly now, saving energy, each step measured. Their shadows merge into one long shape across the baked ground. The camera lingers on their feet, giant pads pressing into cracked earth, and then on Lumo's smaller ones. His footprints are lighter, filled quickly by drifting dust that a sudden gust of wind sweeps through the valley. The smell it carries is faint but strange, metal, dry blood, and something human. Amara pauses. Her ears flare wide. She listens, her great body motionless except for the gentle rise and fall of her breath. The herd halts behind her, waiting. After a long moment, she moves on. The danger, if it exists, is invisible. Only the lens catches it, a faint glint beneath the grass. A broken strand of wire, half buried. The frame tightens, and the soft music of the savanna fades to silence. Then, slowly, the world returns. The herd continues its journey. Birds call from the trees. Cicadas buzz. To anyone watching from afar, Nothing seems amiss. But the camera knows something old, something human-made, lies in their path. As afternoon turns to evening, golden light spills across the plain. The elephants reach a shallow watering hole, more mud than water, but enough to refresh their tired bodies. They wade in with relief, spraying muddy water across their backs. The calves tumble in, rolling and sliding, their small trumpets echoing like laughter. Lumo stays near his mother's side, his body slick with mud, his eyes bright with joy. Amara lowers her trunk to the water and sprays a cooling mist over them both. The droplets catch the sunlight like sparks. For a moment, everything glows, the kind of moment that makes even time hesitate. But nature is never still for long. A distant rumble grows on the horizon, not thunder, but wind. A restless, uneasy wind that carries dust from the far north. It whips across the plain, bending the tall grass until it moves like a sea under stormlight. The elephants lift their heads. Nabira rumbles something low and commanding. The herd begins to move again, leaving the waterhole behind. The sky deepens into amber. Long shadows stretch across the earth. The herd forms a loose line, walking toward the open plain where they'll sleep standing, safe in numbers. The calves, exhausted, lean against their mothers. Lumo stumbles once, then steadies himself beside Amara. The light fades to copper, then to purple. A single star appears above the acacia trees. And somewhere, out of sight, the grass rustles, faint, metallic, waiting. Lumo stops to sniff a cluster of dry weeds glowing in the twilight. The camera pulls in close, his small trunk curling, brushing against something sharp just beneath the surface. He doesn't notice. Not yet. The herd keeps moving, unaware that fate has already chosen its next moment. By the time night spreads across the savannah, the land is quiet again. Only the soft rumble of the herd breaks the silence. Above them, the sky burns with stars. Beneath them, hidden in the tall grass, the old snare waits in stillness. A silent trap forged by forgotten hands. The camera lingers on that spot, unmoving. Crickets hum. A restless wind sighs across the plain, carrying the scent of dust, water, and something darker, the faint metallic promise of what's to come. And as the herd fades into the distance, the final image remains, the glint of wire catching the last trace of moonlight. Just before darkness swallows it whole, the morning light explodes with sound. A single, piercing scream slices through the stillness of dawn, high, desperate, and trembling with fear. Birds lift suddenly from the trees, scattering into the sky. The herd freezes mid-step, trunks raised, eyes wide. And then, they see him, Lumo. The little calf stands half hidden in the tall grass, his leg caught in something invisible. The earth around him quivers as he pulls and thrashes, crying for his mother. The sound, that raw, trembling trumpet of pain, echoes across the valley like the breaking of the world itself. Amara bolts forward before thought can catch up. Her massive body tears through the grass, dust rising in clouds behind her. She reaches her baby and falls to her knees beside him, her trunk searching wildly. Lumo's foot is twisted in a coil of rusted wire buried deep in the ground. Each time he struggles, the metal bites deeper, cutting into flesh. Blood darkens the dry earth beneath him. Amara trumpets again, louder this time, a sound that is half command, half heartbreak. The rest of the herd rushes in, a storm of gray bodies and pounding feet. Their rumbles fill the air, overlapping in waves, low, vibrating calls that ripple across the ground. To human ears, it might sound like chaos, but to them, it is communication. Panic, warning, fear. The matriarch, Nabira, moves to the front. Her tusks gleam dull gold in the rising sun. She is calm, too calm. Her massive ears spread wide, scanning every sound. She knows what this is. She has seen it before. The scent of rust and oil, the cruel grip of wire. The memory lives in her bones. Amara's trunk wraps around the wire and pulls with all her strength. The ground shifts but doesn't give. Lumo cries again, shorter now, weaker. His whole body trembles as he tries to lean against her for comfort. Amara lets out a low, throaty sound, brushing her trunk over his face as if to say, "Stay still, my child." But she can't stop. She pulls again and again. The wire holds fast, cutting deeper. the pain making Lumo shudder violently. Dust rises around them. The air is filled with the deep, rhythmic breathing of giants in distress. Nabira watches closely, her eyes darting between Amara, the trap, and the open plain beyond. She can feel the vultures above, already circling. Their dark wings slice through the sky, patient and cruel. The other elephants begin to form a ring, facing outward. It's instinct, a shield around the wounded calf. Their bodies make a wall of flesh and tusks, guarding the little one from whatever may come. The calves huddle close to their mothers. The younger elephants sway nervously, kicking dust. The tension in the air feels heavy enough to crush bone. Then, silence. Only the faint rustle of grass. Lumo's breathing slows. His small body sags as exhaustion takes over. Amara stands over him like a mountain, her chest heaving, her eyes shining with fear and fury. She digs at the soil with her foot, trying to loosen it, then with her tusks, churning up dirt and rock. The trap rattles, but doesn't break. Each failure cuts deeper into her heart. Hours pass. The sun climbs high, burning the land in a white haze. The herd stays close, restless but loyal. Some elephants take turns digging, pushing at the ground, trying to expose the wire. Others lower their trunks to Lumo's back, rumbling softly, a sound like thunder far away, meant to comfort. They take turns touching him, as if reminding him he's not alone, but the land grows quiet again. Even the birds stop calling. By midday, the wind changes. It carries the faint scent of humans, smoke, fuel, something unnatural. Nabira raises her head sharply. Her memory flashes. The night long ago when gunshots tore through her herd. The smell of blood and iron. Her old wounds ache with the memory. She looks at Amara and then back toward the east, where she knows danger lies. The herd is growing restless now. Their waterhole lies far behind them. The calves are thirsty. The dry heat is unforgiving. Yet Amara refuses to move. She stays pressed beside Lumo, wrapping her trunk around his small body. Her rumble is soft, low, and endless. A mother's lullaby turned prayer. The matriarch steps closer. She touches Amara's shoulder gently with her trunk. No words pass, only understanding, ancient and painful. Then Nabira lifts her head and releases a long, low call that rolls across the plains. The herd begins to shift. Slowly, hesitantly, one by one, they start to move away. Amara doesn't follow. She trumpets in defiance, stamping the ground. Her trunk reaches toward Nabira in protest. But Nabira's gaze is firm, full of quiet wisdom and unbearable sorrow. She knows what must be done. To stay too long near the scent of humans is to invite death for all. The others obey. Their heavy steps stir up a cloud of golden dust that glows in the harsh light. Amara stands frozen in the haze, watching as her family drifts away. The sound of their rumbles fades, leaving only the soft, uneven breathing of her calf. She bends low and touches Lumo's forehead one last time. The gesture is tender, trembling. Her trunk lingers there, a promise. Then, at last, she begins to move. Slowly, reluctantly, step by heavy step, she turns away. Her eyes stay fixed on Lumo until distance blurs him from sight. Lumo watches her go. His small ears twitch. His trunk lifts weakly, searching for her scent in the wind. But she is gone. The grass sways around him, whispering with the dry rasp of loneliness. As the day stretches on, the savanna changes color. The heat softens into the orange calm of evening. The air grows still. Lumo lies in the dust, too weak to call. Insects buzz faintly. The shadows of circling vultures stretch long across the ground. Then, something stirs in the distance. The faint vibration of movement, deep and far away. A low rumble, carried by the wind. It's almost too soft to hear. But Lumo feels it, through the earth, through his bones. The herd's farewell song, echoing across the plains. The sun sinks behind the acacias, painting the sky in fire and gold. Dust settles over the scene, glowing in the last light. The camera pulls back. The little elephant, small and still in the endless grass, framed by the vastness of the land. The world grows quiet again. Only the wind speaks now, sighing through the grass as night begins to fall, and beneath that silence, the earth holds its breath, waiting for what will come next. Night had fallen heavy and cold across the savanna. The grass whispered in the wind, and the world seemed emptied of sound. A half-moon hung low over the plain, its pale light casting long shadows that looked almost alive. Beneath that light lay a small shape, still, trembling, and alone. Lumo. His once bright eyes had dimmed with exhaustion. Hours had passed since the herd disappeared into the distance, leaving him trapped and bleeding beneath the cruel wire. His cries had grown softer, swallowed by the endless dark. The air smelled of rust and dust and fear. Each breath came shallow and uneven, his trunk twitching with tiny spasms of pain. From far away came the eerie laughter of jackals, thin, mocking notes carried on the wind. Their shapes moved like smoke between the dry grasses, eyes glinting with hunger. The little elephant lifted his head weakly, instinct urging him to cry out, but no sound came. His throat was dry, his body drained. The world seemed to shrink to the narrow circle of light around him. The trap, the wound, the stillness. Then, from somewhere beyond the plain, a sound began to rise that it was faint at first, more felt than heard. A vibration deep in the earth, rolling closer, steadier. It was not the call of a predator, nor the echo of thunder. It was something older, familiar. A low, powerful rumble that made the ground tremble beneath the calf's body. Lumo's ears lifted. His eyes blinked open. The sound grew stronger, layered, rhythmic, alive. Dust stirred at the horizon as massive shapes began to move out of the darkness. Silhouettes of tusks and trunks, shifting through moonlight. The herd was returning, not in chaos, not in fear, but with purpose. Nabira led them, the matriarch's great frame bathed in silver light. Behind her walked Amara, her head bowed low, trunk sweeping the ground as she followed the scent of her child. The others moved in quiet formation, a family reunited, but not at peace yet. They stopped a few meters from the trapped calf. For a moment, the scene was silent except for the sighing wind. The herd stood motionless, their vast bodies forming a wall around the small figure in the dirt. Then, Nabira stepped forward. Her eyes, old and deep, studied the ground, the wire, the cuts, the earth pressed down by struggle. She let out a low rumble, almost like a command. What followed was not random. It was organized. The elephants began to work. Two adults moved to Lumo's side, using their tusks to dig into the soil around his trapped leg. The sound of metal scraping against rock echoed through the night. Another used her trunk to pull away clumps of grass and loosen the earth. Amara stayed close to Lumo, gently touching his forehead, rumbling softly as if to calm his trembling heart. They were careful, incredibly careful. The work was slow, patient. Each movement seemed to carry understanding. When one elephant paused, another continued. When the wire resisted, they changed their angle. It was as if every member of the herd knew exactly what to do. Nabira herself leaned in now, pressing her tusks deep into the soil. She shifted the wire, snapping a root free. Dust rose around her in clouds. Her trunk brushed over the trap, testing the tension. The others watched closely. Lumo winced as the metal pulled against his wound. But Amara was there, her body a barrier, her trunk a comfort. Time passed like this, measured by the sound of breath and the soft grind of tusks in dirt. The moon sank lower, painting the land in pale silver. The jackals that had lingered at a distance began to fade into the dark, chased away by the silent force of this gathering. And then, a sound, a sharp metallic snap. The wire gave way, the herd froze, holding still for a heartbeat, as if not daring to believe it. Then Lumo's leg, trembling and bloodied, slid free of the trap. He fell to his side, weak from the effort. Amara was instantly there, wrapping her trunk around him, pulling him close to her chest. The little elephant pressed his head against her, breathing hard. She rumbled low, the same sound she made when he was born. A mother's lullaby, ancient and unbroken. Nabira stepped back, her body finally relaxing. The others gathered in close, forming a circle around mother and child. Their trunks touched, Amara's, Nabira's, and those of the younger females. It was not a celebration. It was something deeper, a quiet acknowledgement of survival, of unity. The dawn arrived slowly, spilling light across the grass. The night's cold retreated. The land began to breathe again. Now, under the warm glow of sunrise, the place that had been filled with fear only hours ago shimmered with life. Dust drifted gently through beams of light. Birds began to call again from the acacia trees. Lumo tried to stand, his injured leg trembling under his weight. Amara guided him carefully, supporting him with her trunk that he wobbled, then stood. The herd erupted in soft rumbles that rolled across the plain like thunder under the soil. The sound was joy, relief, pride, all spoken in a language older than words. Lumo leaned into his mother's side, exhausted but alive. His wound would heal. The wire, broken and twisted, lay half-buried in the dirt beside him. The last trace of human cruelty in a scene now reclaimed by nature. When the camera pulls back, the herd begins to move again. Their steps are slow, deliberate, as they walk away from the place of pain toward the horizon where the light gathers. Their bodies cast long shadows that stretch like memories across the land. Behind them, only silence remains, and the faint impression of tusks and trunks in the dirt. Later, as the heat of day begins to rise, a distant hum cuts through the stillness. A ranger vehicle approaches, bouncing over the uneven ground. The men inside stop when they see the disturbed soil, the broken trap, and the faint traces of elephant prints leading away. They step out, walking slowly, realizing what they've stumbled upon. One of them kneels to pick up the wire, twisting it in his gloved hands. That he looks around, scanning the horizon, but the elephants are gone. Only the land remains, calm and bright under the morning sun. The birds have returned. The wind moves softly through the grass, and though no one else saw what happened, the truth lingers there, written not in words, but in the earth itself. The disturbed soil, the broken metal, the faint tracks of a calf who lived. Because mercy doesn't always need a witness, the herd remembers. The herd heals. The camera rises high above the plain, the elephants now distant shadows against the golden light. The world seems to hold its breath, the silence filled with meaning. In the heart of the wild, compassion is not taught. It is remembered, passed down through the soil, through the rumble of generations, through the unspoken promise of a mother's love.